on us, because I will assure you there was never a moment in our lives when that was better advice than it is right now.
Society can prevent those who are manifestly unfit from continuing their kind. 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. I do not join in the belief that the African is our equal in brain or in heart.
We are paying for and even submitting to the dictates of an ever-increasing, unceasingly spawning class of human beings who never should have been born at all.
The laws of nature require the obliteration of the unfit.
The best way to hate a nigger is to hate him before he is born.
American eugenicists were routinely praising Hitler and holding up the Nazi eugenics program as a model for the United States to copy.
Non-white races must be excluded from America. The red and black races, if left to themselves, revert to a savage or semi-savage state in a short time. The only way possible of decreasing Negro population is by means of controlling fertility. Birth control facilities could be extended relatively more to Negroes than to whites, since Negroes are more concentrated in the lower income and education classes.
We hope that the restraint of population growth can come about through voluntary means. But if it does not, involuntary methods will be used.
There should be national sterilization for certain dysgenic types of our population who are being encouraged to breed and would die out were the government not feeding them.
If this movement continues, we soon may be accused of fighting poverty by eliminating the poor and overcoming hunger by removing the hungry.
For all their failures, what the eugenics movement had accomplished was to lay the foundation for the next phase of their plan. And this is where they would find the success that they had been chasing for over 100 years.
Welcome back. A couple of things here. We got a bigger thing I want to talk about, but a couple of small things we're seeing. Not a small thing, I guess. We're finding out, and this story is kind of unfolding, in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, that state agencies there are being discovered having taken girls for abortions. State agencies.
Oh yeah.
That are, and they say in many cases, or the charge is right now that what they're finding is that in many of these cases, it's situations where social workers are coercing girls into having an abortion, young girls, and they're taking them to the abortion clinics.
Even forcing them.
And forcing them.
Demanding that they'll cut off all state aid if they don't have the abortion.
Right. I heard somebody called me the other day and said that, and she's trying to get some information on it right now. One young lady was told that because she was underage, if she didn't go have an abortion, that the doctor, whoever delivered her baby, would turn in her boyfriend, and he'd wind up going to prison because the boyfriend was like 3 years older than her. And so this welfare worker coerced this girl into having an abortion. And it's just, when you look at these state agencies, even in conservative states, if you go into states like Texas or Alabama or Mississippi or whatever, in those state agencies, what you find is that even in a place like Texas, they're as hard left, as godless as they are in Massachusetts or California or New York. So,
well, I'll apologize right up front for anybody who happens to work for a state. But one thing I've found is that the far left people generally gravitate to these state agency bureaucratic positions. Right. And these are the SEIU people that are demanding, forever health care and forever benefits and pay larger than the private sector. And they're hard left, and they're the ones that are promoting and protecting abortion services and all the other leftist agendas.
We've seen that right here in Texas, in the agencies that were charged with the responsibility of overseeing that abortion clinics in Texas meet the health care standards, the operational standards. They wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it.
And when they had visitation, and when they would be doing on-site inspections, which were supposed to be secret. In other words, you don't call somebody and say, hey, 3 weeks from now on certain date, I'm going to come there and make sure you're doing everything right. You're not. There's supposed to be unannounced inspections. They were announcing.
Sure.
And they probably still are.
Are the standards higher for veterinary clinics?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do things in abortion clinics all day they'd never allow to happen in a vet clinic. I want to talk about an issue here that comes up from time to time. We've gone over it a few times in the past. What does it mean to be pro-life? I still say we have watered down the term so much now that you've got hardcore pro-aborts out there who are claiming to be pro-life. Kay Bailey Hutchison here in Texas will tell you that she's pro-life. Yeah. And when she was running against Rick Perry this last time for governor of Texas, she was running ads talking about her pro-life credentials. The woman is a slobbering pro-abort.
Yeah. Same thing with Kathleen Sebelius, the HHS secretary. In fact, I saw an ad during the last election cycle that Planned Parenthood was claiming to be pro-life. Right. What they do is actually pro-life. I'm not kidding you. I've got the article in my office.
I've seen them. I've heard. I remember when I can't remember the woman's name that used to run Planned Parenthood, and she was on national television saying, "Look, we're all pro-life."
Yeah.
And we try to prevent abortions by birth control.
I get to say the definition. It's to restore legal protection to the unborn child. Period.
Well, not just the unborn child, but from the moment of fertilization and in all circumstances. And we need to start having a better litmus test for what it means to be pro-life and start holding these people's feet to the fire. Listen to this. I do not believe that a frozen embryo in a fertility clinic freezer constitutes human life. Now, I believe that being pro-life involves helping the living. Regenerative medicine is pro-life and pro-family. Orrin Hatch. Now, he says he's pro-life.
Right.
He doesn't know the definition of the word.
That's too bad.
We had a situation on this nonsensical show with Whoopi Goldberg, The View. They were talking about abortion. Anyway, they supposedly have one pro-life person, Hasselbeck, right? That's supposed to be the pro-life person. They were talking about making abortion illegal. She said, we should never go back to that. Again, changing hearts, not changing laws. Well, these people are trying to go back there, talking about pro-lifers.
Elizabeth saying that.
Yes.
Well, she's not a trained pro-life spokesperson. I'm sorry.
But she may not be a trained pro-life spokesperson, but she doesn't even know what pro-life means.
Well,
and that's our fault.
What do you expect? She's a Hollywood actress thrown into the middle of cackling hens.
Right.
I prefer the term anti-abortion. I've gone 360 on this, and anti-abortion is something that we need to gather around, and it needs to gain steam, because if you look at the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, they're not pro-sobriety, they're against drunk driving. The anti-smoking campaigns are not pro-clean air campaigns. They're against smoking. And we need to be more anti-abortion, because abortion is a horrific, terrible thing that takes the life of a baby. And only then can we truly define what pro-life is.
Now we've got a situation in California where Orange County Assemblyman Chuck DeVore is running for Congress, running against this woman, Fiorini. I've seen her a couple of times on television. She's all over the lot on the abortion deal. She doesn't know really what she believes, apparently. He is very hardcore pro-life and always has been.
Yeah, I'm backing DeVore.
Right. Now, the California Pro-Life Council is supporting her. And board member Mike Spence on his blog said that, quote, our duty is to elect pro-life candidates. The word elect, now listen to this, the word elect is as important as the word pro-life. So they're backing Fiorini because they think she has a better chance of winning.
See, they're
going to throw the real pro-life guy under. They've already thrown the real pro-life guy under the bus.
Well, when the governor's race, they did that.
They get us in trouble so many times. You're right. In the governor race in California,
and this is the state affiliate of National Right to Life.
No, I've said this again and again. National Right to Life, and there's some really good people in there, but they should change their name from National Right to Life to National Elect Republicans. That's all they do.
What they stand
no,
for.
that's it. And because their theory, which is flawed, is to elect a Republican president, wait for a Supreme Court justice to die, appoint a pro-life Supreme Court justice which will overturn Roe. That's been their plan for 40 years. It hasn't worked. It's the definition of insanity. It's time to change the game plan.
It's not only is it time to change the game plan, but we're looking at something that will take so long, none of us will be alive to see it.
We'll talk about the babies that aren't going to be alive to see it.
The babies will die, we'll die, and the battle will still go on. The truth of it is, we should learn from these lessons. One thing I do like about the Tea Party people, they want to see the whole house cleaned out. I think that anti-incumbent, that's one of the greatest moves that ever been done in America. Let's give these people some term limitations. Get rid of them. We've already learned that just because you select the person because they belong to your party does you no good if they're going to vote the same way as their party was. Our inspector was the same. We had no business ever being accepted by the Republican Party. He should have been kicked out from day one. When he was about to lose years ago, Bush and the rest of them should have just stayed out of the fight, let him lose then. I am so glad he lost now.
Well, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Let's go to that point. Remember, and I talked about this on the Pro-Life 101 segment today, Scott Brown was elected in Massachusetts to take over the position that was held for a gazillion years by Ted Kennedy, right? And we're all supposed to just be dancing in the streets of this major victory, right? Well, healthcare happened anyway, right? And now what we did was we replaced an old, worn-out, hardcore leftist, pro-abort, pro-homosexual degenerate Ted Kennedy with a young person who has the same positions on the issues, and he's going to be there for a long time. But we're supposed to be happy because he's got an R after his name, and Kennedy had a D after his name. Did we make any? What did we gain from all this?
Nothing.
Can you tell me what we gained from this?
You know, for me, I would look at it just as an indicator. Hopefully, it's like predicting the weather. It's difficult, as some sort of indication that the country is moving in the correct direction. They rebelled against the Democrat Kennedy regime and they replaced him. That's the only good thing. Now, they replaced him with probably someone just as bad.
Right.
But